All right, so, well, hey, I'm back, you're back. It's another Tuesday, and I'm very happy that I didn't come down with Confunk, such that I would miss another RP session with you all. Man, 60 episodes in, my goodness, y'all have been on quite an adventure here. And, well, there's more to happen, and we're going to see what happens tonight. That being said, let's well, you know what, speaking of the place that we had left off, why don't we go to Celine to kick us off with thoughts and recap and just what is going on in Celine's world right now.
What is going on in Celine's world right now? Well, I mean, there's no nagging in the back of my head, so that's a nice start to the day. I how do I put it? I'm a little conflicted, shall we say?
Okay, what's conflicting
Because
you?
if I'm being honest, I didn't walk in there expecting to do what I did, but professional courtesy is professional courtesy and all that. Don't want to waste someone's time.
It's noble of you to jump on that grenade, metaphorically.
Noble, selfish. Depends on how you look at it. And I know Mordecai is less than pleased at this turn of events. He and I really need to sit down and have a chat. Just when things aren't, there aren't cleric Fomorians trouncing through the countryside, and we're not dying.
It's a tall order. I'll see what I can do about
Or,
that.
in Mordecai's case, dying again. So, it's on the to-do list for when we actually get time to sit down and talk, and he's not locked in jail, and we're not separated again. Out of character, we split this party so many times. It's a miracle that, like, those splitting of the parties haven't. Well, actually, no, I tell a lie. It has related to one or two deaths,
Yeah.
but it hasn't related to more deaths.
Hi.
It hasn't related to more deaths. I think is the thing that I was going for. But no, that is a thing that I need to do, just so that he and I can be at rest about things.
All right, so
I mean, to be fair, I don't even care that he's dead. You know,
so Mordecai's
he
on your
has
bucket
qualms
list.
about it. I don't. He still has a soul, and that's kind of what matters to me.
Well, hopefully you'll get the chance to let him know that. Is there anything else that you want to sort of privately, publicly express, Celine, or are we to move on?
Actually, on second thought, I probably shouldn't tell him that. I don't think of him as an object.
For a container holding a soul, he's pretty good.
You can say that, sure.
Well then, if you're finished, shall we move to said container, Mordecai? Mordecai, you started here, but you're no longer. What is going on with you now that you have been in jail? You're out of jail. Things are swirling around here. What's happening?
Well, I would have half expected to have been at least visited during the night to see what was going on, at the very least. And then when I'm questioned, I am utterly humiliated by Jacob. And now the entire entire city knows that I'm undead. Trying to keep that a little bit under wraps, just so that it doesn't spiral into something that turns into like a hunt or something. And we go investigating the tower and everything, and the Fomorians, and it's not so much the act that upsets me.
Mm-hmm.
It is the lie that came with it. She said so herself. She wasn't going to partake or anything like that. And it's Bright who comes back and tells me that she stayed behind and kind of forced her to do that. And that's what got me upset about what happened with Celine, and that's all I could really focus on right now, because I am definitely feeling vulnerable right now. I don't know what's real. I don't know what is solid. I am in a place right now where I don't know what's going on, and I would really like some solid ground to stand on, because that would be just nice.
When winter was ending for you here before the springtime rolled around, I mean, you're probably waiting for, some of the wintry weather. Not that it gets tremendously snowy, as you're fairly far south, and the warm waters, don't necessarily cause blizzards unless you're up in the mountains. But as winter was coming to an end here, spring was coming around. What was something, Mordecai, that you were looking forward to going out and doing with the countryside becoming alive again and waking up all around you that has been thrown into disarray?
The fall leading into the winter, I was in the south of the island and trying to kind of bunk up for a little while, really solidifying my thoughts about whether or not I wanted to leave. And when spring rolled around, that's when I traveled towards Mask of Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had made that decision. And I undid that decision based on Selena Bright and who were with us, Jade and Tazray, and now they're gone. A lot of thoughts going in my head right now. A lot of thoughts.
This is certainly a season of change, and you've been through a whirlwind, my friend. And we'll see where this continues to take you, especially as you're, I'm presuming, going to be back on the heels of these strange giants.
Fairly soon, I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is there anything else, Mordecai, or are we going to pass the baton?
Nope, that's where I'm at right now. So.
All right.
See what happens.
Let's just keep going down the line. Investigator Jacob T. Stillwaters. I put the T in there for funsies.
The T is for Thomas.
What's going on with you, sir? You're sort of back on the streets. You've done a lot of things. You've made some interesting maneuvers. What are your thoughts and feelings on the current situation?
There's not much to think about, truthfully. We need to end up getting a handle on the whole burning tower. Something about giants or something else that is currently invading or leaving. I'm still trying to end up ascertaining the details in that. As of right now, I simply end up requiring this Chroma company to do the job that has been set to task. If they're capable of doing so, then, well, some will have earned their freedom. Others, well, I have my eye upon them. truth of the matter is, I harbor no ill will to any of them, but the law is the law. And especially in moments of crisis, we cannot end up having people assuming that, well, since everything is going to hell, might as well end up adding to the fuel to the fire, so to speak. It's in the small examples, you see, that make everything stand out, make everything just right. The truth of the matter is that right now we have a bunch of hooligans running around, lifting whatever they can, people breaking into shops, people trying to get what they can, while they assume that the guards are too busy to end up dealing with anything else. And now it's led to sloppy arrests and a sloppier precinct. That won't stand under my watch, sir. So, after dealing with this particular endeavor, perhaps I should end up taking some time to end up whipping some discipline back into these individuals. The fact of the matter is now I have to end up dealing with that, and that's not even the largest portion of the problem. At this point, a deputized corpse is currently here under my supervision, and we are both carrying heavy questions. What's more, the frustration with riddles. Dear God, I hate riddles. Love a good mystery. They make sense. Riddles, you find somebody who's come up with an asinine question that makes absolutely no sense, has 20 different answers that can be applied, and you just end up waiting until some arbitrary individual says, yes, that's the correct one, without any food or thought to it. Fact of the matter is that that's why I end up having these individuals. I guess they're technically under my employ, their payment being freedom. Because after all, the serving of the law and the serving of the greater good is in fact a form of penance, and a method of which justice can be prevailed. Many people think of justice as tit for tat. You end up having a person killed, you must be hanged. No, quite the opposite. It's about rebalancing the scales, giving back to the community. And, given on how much they have taken already, would you like to see my notes on how much that is? Well, it's only fair that they give back to what they've already taken. I can't help but wonder what Miss Crump is up to at this current moment. Hopefully keeping out of trouble. Though,
Yes, speaking of corpses.
Given my encounter with Mr. Silverleaf, that has yet to be determined. I will be observing him, if only to end up gaining a better understanding as to what they're kind of like. But still, the law is the law. And regardless of species or life, I don't see any law that suddenly makes a person who is deceased suddenly immune to it. So, I will treat them in the same way as I would a living individual. Though it's very hard to imagine him as a corpse, a blood-sucking fiend of the night.
You certainly are in an interesting position, investigator, in that you've been having to take most of your meals as a soup sandwich. And and how you managed to eat that, I mean, you've been pretty creative so far.
Well, at this point, the question is justice served and the greater good of the community held? So long as that remains, I will be content.
Well, we'll see if you can manage to continue to wrangle everything that's happening as the world is just unfraying around you, and hopefully you'll be able to not be continually disappointed, going back to that just occasional disappointment that we all experience in life.
One can hope.
Let's go over to, unless there's anything else, investigator, let's go to Kazimir, and then we'll finish up with Bright. Kazimir, for a good long while here, I mean, it felt like 2 weeks, you've been serving in the ossuary, sort of in the background, but you did, it was really only one night, but, you know, it's stressful circumstances, things can seem to be drawn out. What is going on with Kazimir here? You've done some good service here at this faith house of Weejas, or Weejas, depending on your local parlance. And you've seen a couple things, and now you're conducting a hunt for Fomorians through the city streets. What is going through your mind? This has been quite a time for you, let alone when you were salt.
Yes, I was very salty for a long time, and then when I wasn't salty, I woke up and Celine was like, "Oh, we have to help." So I decided, okay, I can help. I can do what I can. And then Celine went off, and the small one came back, and the small one needed new clothes. I went to go get some. They were stolen. Oh well, I borrowed some from the church. I gave donation. Then we tracked these big, odd-looking giants that they're quite interesting. I haven't encountered these before. It's kind of exciting. Oh, and then Celine cheated on Mordecai. They have a toxic relationship. Should probably do something about that.
Well, a good hunter sees opportunity everywhere.
Exactly.
Are there any other observances or thoughts that you would like to share with us before we continue down the line?
No, that was a recap. That is those stupid riddle things. I don't get them.
Well,
I don't know why people are asking riddles and saying riddles. What is the point of that? No one has explained to me. I don't know. I don't get it.
Fortunately, Kazimir, you haven't been subjected to that curse. It seems to be on our little pink-haired bright. So maybe that's a relief. Now, real quick before we do go to our one floof wonder here, what are your thoughts about these creatures that you've been tracking? Because you had a discovery about them. Has that been a riddle in a sense, in another way, or what are your thoughts regarding this weird connection? I caught you with some rations. I'm sorry. I know tracking can take it out of you here.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I thought you went to Bright.
Oh, almost.
Almost. I thought that was clear.
Nope. I wanted to get your
vision.
opinion on what you discovered about these creatures and your thoughts regarding what that could mean, or what you might be preparing for.
We learned that they were fey, or is that just mechanical thing and mixing things?
You had picked up, yes, that these creatures are at least close enough to fey that your pursuit and study of them in other ways as a hunter is relevant to tracking them down. Though these aren't pretty little, pixies or
Very different.
Yeah.
No, other than the fact that they're wearing, like, priest clothes, which is odd, because why would random giant fey creatures be wearing priest clothes, especially one of temple I was in for, like, 2 weeks. Oh, wait, that was like, a day.
Yeah,
It
just
was
one
time.
long
I
night.
passed out like 3 times, got back up, did it, felt like a week.
Yeah.
But, I don't know what to make of it just yet. I have to learn a bit more before I come to a decision.
All right. That's fair. All right, then. Now, Kazimir, you may go back to your trail rations here as you prepare for the hunt. I am now officially going over to Bright. And with that, let's go back to where we began the recap and kind of where we had left things off. So, Bright, what are your thoughts and feelings right now?
Okay. So, thoughts are mostly on this riddle. I know that Mr. Halver left for us, so we have to solve it. It's the only thing we can do now. And just hope that it does something good, as opposed to like making another tower explode. Because I don't want that. But anyway, feelings. I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of feelings-wise. I know that Mordecai's having a bad day, and Kazimir has been solved for a while, and I still don't know what Jacob is thinking or going to do afterward. But all I can do is try to solve these riddles that nobody can hear but me, and it's really frustrating because I don't speak the language. But I don't know. I really just don't know. That's all.
All right. Then what we'll do is it is certainly a quandary, and one doesn't like to scratch one's head too much, especially with fantastic hair like that. But we're gonna have to pick up here with you all having you had solved the last riddle that was located in the nest, as the nest was the answer to the prior one. And when that occurred, you had been visited by this little silvery worm, WYRM, that manifested in our blue dragonborn's business assets, and gave you another riddle, which was pondered upon while Celine was doing work inside the place of business. It culminated in an exuberant exclamation, although there's another synonym that we could use, but I think in current parlance that would be pushing it a little too much. That led to AEIOU, shouted very loudly, and the answer was vowels. And so with that, a little cunning, we have then been delivered another riddle after that, in some seemingly, you're theorizing things might not have been, or they could be literal, or they could be some sort of an extrapolation. And the last riddle that you had received was presumably solved, but we didn't really get to continue things too much past there. And I don't have it immediately in front of me, but it was... Actually, hang on, I can...
I drift as slowly as a lazy river. I dance upon as little as a puff of air. I tumble better than the greatest acrobats, swirling, twirling, down to the ground where I lie, till I get my second wind, so I begin again.
Yes, that's the one.
And the answer?
The answer?
Yes, because we did actually figure it out in character.
Yes.
Because Bright actually ended up getting it.
No,
It's a leaf.
No, it's not a leaf, it's Mordecai. But if it's not Mordecai, then it's a leaf.
Yeah.
One of two things.
I'm really hoping it's Mordecai. I mean, that would just be... I don't know. Well, for one, we wouldn't have to find him. He's right here. I don't know. Do you have a little dragon? Because nobody that has a little dragon knows they have a little dragon. Oh, why don't I poke around? I'm gonna poke Mordecai a couple of times and see if there's a little dragon. Sorry. Does this tickle? You a little. But I'm also looking for a dragon.
Okay, so with this discussion, and you know, for those of you who are still had the Fomorians in mind, they were on their way to the gate, but there's really only one major road, and it's not like there's not a lot of witnesses that can attest that they went that way. As you are poking around Mordecai looking for a little dragon, go ahead and make a perception check, Bright.
I don't have my character sheet yet. Just a minute.
That's fine.
Perception. I'm really bad at perception.
Okay. Well, you're not under any sort of duress. This could very much be an advantage. So we'll go with the 17 instead of the 12.
Okay.
And so Mordecai, I mean, you're here doing this. Like, all right, fine. That's what's happening here. While Bright is checking over Mordecai, Kazimir, Jacob, or Celine, are you wanting to do anything in particular? Or are you watching the search for the Mordecai silver worm?
I'm currently watching.
Okay.
I'll also just gonna watch.
I'm just keeping an eye out for any sort of behavior that would not be the norm for this particular region. Mostly on the fact that I'm expecting us to get pickpocketed at any moment.
Ah, very good. Then, Jacob, you may also make a perception at advantage because you are on guard and you're not letting the pats and pokes of Bright on Mordecai distract you, as Kazimir and Celine seem to be throwing eyeball elbows at each other to get a look. Ooh, 22. Okay. I will bear that in mind should shenaniganery occur. So after a while, not a long while, just a couple minutes here, Bright, you're pretty convinced that at least from the waist down, Mordecai doesn't have any abnormal. He's not hiding anything that would be abnormal for him to have. But as you do, well, there's and he's kind of looking down at you. You do see that one of his horns has a silver sheen to it, and it kind of like leaves its head a little bit and looks down at you.
Like the jewelry up there comes to life.
Yeah.
Hey, it's your horn. Your horn is turning into a silver thing.
Go to touch it.
It feels like your horn.
No, just bend over. I want to see your horn.
She might be going colorblind.
I get down to a knee so that I'm eye level with her.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. You squat down and Bright, you're looking Mordecai's silver horn right in the face thing.
I mean, this is the actual silver leaf of the silver leaf. Wake up, Mr. Dragon! Poke, 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 poke.
And it does speak to you. The horn apparently is whispering.
Oh, I really want to listen.
Dubba 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 dub, and let's see if you can translate that to someone who can speak the language. But as you're doing so, like in real time with active audience, you can make an intelligence check at advantage.
I think I can do that.
Hopefully. Well, I don't know. Last week that might have been kind of a stretch. I don't think you were doing too well last week.
I'll guidance you as well.
Guidance doesn't help very much. It wasn't very good guidance.
Okay, well, still at the 17.
17, though, it's not terrible.
No, not at all. It's a 16 normally, and then Celine was able to correct an accent on one of your words, as she's been your translator here to Draconic. And fortunately, that one little, okay, it's, Sardo accent on the dough. And with that, then, you relate the words in Draconic, as you are, at least for a moment, a parrot, just without the polymorph, as you're describing what is being told. And let me copy this, and then I shall read it for you all to listen and enjoy. 2 horses, swiftest traveling, harnessed in a pair, and grazing ever in places distant from them. 2 horses, swiftest traveling. Yeah, that's Dark Wolf Levioso. Harnessed in a pair and grazing ever in places distant from them.
Like a cart or something?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's like giraffes hooked together, and then they're just because they have really long necks.
And Mordecai, apparently that's what your horn says, as it's whispering secrets to Bright when you're kneeling down in front of it.
I've heard this one too, but this one's a bit of a stretch.
Oh, of course they're stretching their necks.
No,
Precisely, it's dry.
it's a stretch of logic.
Oh,
Something in pair, swift travel.
hey. Well, at least we know what it is now. It might. I don't know the answer. Be hard.
I do. But
What about
I
a traveling caravan?
Well, my guess is the traveling is probably metaphorical traveling. It's probably not things actually going from place to place.
I'm a very literal person, so
that is the right logical track to think on.
You can't be too literal when you learn magic. But usually also they're telling you what the spell is supposed to do, so that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I'll keep the answer to this one quiet because it's a harder one. Unless you guys can't figure it out, in which case I will. Then.
Is there any chance that I've heard this one, Matty? Being a bard.
Make a... Let's see. History at disadvantage, and let's see how you do here.
Well, he's gonna roll a 12 on that.
12 plus your modifier.
Plus modifier is a 17 total.
Okay. This is certainly your bardic feelings are taking you in a direction that this is certainly a metaphor for something, and so something is going to fit here. What would, if the horses are metaphors? It's something in pairs. What travels? What moves? What is... It says grazing ever in places. Grazing is eating, is taking in. Consuming in some fashion. But what they're consuming is distant from the horses. It was kind of, I mean, with the comment in chat, like like a straw allows you to drink from a very far place. So in a sense that could be a clue that your bardic senses are telling you here.
Something eating.
Something
Far away from where it started, or far away from itself.
I think it's better to put it as one thing that works in pairs, taking things in always from a distance.
Oh, their eyes.
Oh,
So dumb.
I said it's a bit of a logical stretch.
that's
I didn't want to just give the answer out, but
How
that's,
are horses'
that's
eyes?
another way you can read the riddle.
I do not get it.
Hey,
So
You consume
it's
the images
so
that
two
they're presented.
two horses. Two
Horses
horses
do not
with-
travel at
with
high
this
speeds.
traveling,
Or eyes
always
do not travel at
always
high
harnessed
speeds.
in a pair and always taking things in that are distant from them.
That's assuming both eyes are working properly.
That is assuming that both eyes are working.
Protest
properly,
Kazimir.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that
He's
assumes
not
that
wrong.
yeah, I think that's a good. Well, we figured it out anyway, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Good.
So now we have to find some eyes. Mordecai, could you bend over again?
I agree with the statement.
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
As I said, it's a logical stretch.
Yeah.
But when you read the riddle as I read it to you, like if you interpret the riddle as I read it, that's how you come to that answer.
All of us have eyes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is it a certain pair of eyes that we're looking for?
So my guess
Probably
is,
not mine.
I mean, it could be yours. Let me check all your eyes. I'll start with you, Mordecai, because you had the last one.
Okay, I'm still at eye level with her.
Okay.
Okay. Her little
She
gnome
grabs
hands
you
are
in
just
the
like,
eyes.
look. Ooh, getting really in there. Oh, okay. And maybe it's a little easier for you, Bright, because you actually have a tiefling that has pupils. Kind of a rarer find. Though Mordecai doesn't seem to have any dragons in his eyeballs. At least that you can see.
Sorry. It makes people sneeze when I do like that. I'm sorry.
It's some gnomish like acupressure stuff. It's
We
No, you
really
just
should have
to
tried
precise.
that back in Sanam Phi.
What happened in Singam Put?
That's a whole long story. That's a long
lots
story.
of things happened in Snap By.
So
I have time.
my thoughts, and I don't know which should be true, but maybe one of them. First, sometimes there's like a landmark that's called like the eye of or something, or the eyes of something, and it could be that. Sometimes also there's like a business, like this place was the what's it called?
the
I'll read
nest.
the site.
Robin's nest.
The nest. Yeah. So it could just be like a business that's called like the Eye or something, or it could be like a person, like a criminal who has that as their street name, or it could be like we need to find like a
Did those
eye, someone who has like special eyes, like glass eyes or magic eyes. Any of those things it could be.
Right.
did those giants have odd eyes?
Yeah. It could be that also. Lean, don't you feel sheepish?
The Fomorian eye.
Yeah.
Wait, do I
So-
have that on me? Or
No,
is that...
it's gone, isn't it?
You said you gave it to the researcher or realms or whatever.
She was studying it in my room.
She was
yeah.
studying it. You still have the eye.
Yeah.
You have to cover up. However, it would seem that unless she just like had an entire parade of people run into your room while you were sleeping, she might have been able to spread the
Do
love
similar things. Yeah.
after she acquired
Right,
one.
Maddie. Oh, I was just gonna say, do I know of a place that has eyes in the title?
Tell you
Has
what,
mascot?
make a history at advantage. You are a well-traveled
That's
soul
20.
container.
I'm well traveled and I'm a native.
Yeah. All right. So with a 20, especially with a 20, you're like, oh, what could that possibly be? And you're thinking, we have Mesomasca here, and the two lakes are named after eyes. You have Lake Right Eye and Right Eye Lake, and they're actually describing each of the different ones because one of the arguments from the tieflings is that that this should be Lake Right Eye because it's the right eye if you're wearing the mask and looking out of it. However, the humans said no, this is Right Eye Lake. If only to be a little antagonistic, because when you're looking at the mask, this is the right eye. And so we have two right eyes. And of course, this is more the tiefling half of the island nation, and this is more the human half here. So there are two prominent water features that are named after eyes. Of course, of the landlords that are the traveling nomads that are creating the statues. Obviously, the statues of the tieflings carved into the mountain, have very prominent facial features. Some look like they're staring down at you. You've probably passed by some of them. They look like they're looking down and either judging or welcoming. They're very expressive for what they are, and especially because you have these, effectively kind of like the Amish of the tiefling pilgrims. They live very simply. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. Everyone's left them alone. They've just sort of been doing their own thing with their own customs and quasi-own language and whatnot. So that is a prominent geological feature that comes to mind, Mordecai, if you're thinking about eyes.
Sorry, I interrupted somebody when we were talking about that, so...
I was just gonna pull the Fomorian eye out of my bag and listen to see, hold it up to Bright's ear to see if it had any secrets.
Yeah, I mean, the Fomorian eye is right here. We don't have to go very far.
It's
kind of
not
hooky.
taking it out of the sack.
Oh,
I learned my lesson.
Okay, well, I'll just look in the sack then.
Okay.
And hopefully I don't turn into a giant, because then I'd just be average sized.
Well, luckily I've got a spell ready just in case.
Hey. Well, I'll take a look at the Fomorian eye.
Sure, no problem. Let's see here. I need you to make a charisma saving throw, please, Bright.
Oh.
As you stare at the eye, and the eye, you certainly get the feeling that despite this being a very bulbous, detached eye, does seem to be staring back. And you just feel this kind of like, ooh, just a little tingle, creepy crawly underneath your skin. A couple of your muscles twitch. However, you don't have anything happen to you that is, that's bad.
Hey, that's good. Do I see a little dragon?
You do not, no.
Okay. Well, Celine, could you take that away? It's Uki.
Yep, I'll put it back in my bag. You didn't hear any whispering or anything, so it's fine. Alright.
Will, I will say whispers. There were some whispers. However, there was no silver dragon swirling around inside of it.
Yeah, I don't. Those aren't the right kind of whispers. Those are like Uki whispers.
Yep, well, that can go back in my bag.
You can hang on to that from now on, and please don't show it to me again.
Yeah, you should probably get rid of that at some point.
So,
it's, to be fair, Mordecai,
Probably put a reserve that.
having that with us
My smell.
means that we don't have to deal with Jack.
Who is Jack? How many men are in your life?
What a man! Jesus Christ!
I need to know.
Why are we just
What?
Kazimir?
Why do you need to know?
Because I'm interested.
At least he's honest.
I'll take a step back.
Okay.
I'm literally in the middle of this, and I don't want to be there.
No, the eye is what stops us from having to deal with him.
And
So I'm gonna keep it on me. Fair enough.
Is he squeamish? Is that it?
No.
Wait,
No,
who are you talking about being squeamish? What?
This Jack person.
Yeah, he's squeamish.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, no. You could say that.
Isn't probably not worth it. Bless you.
Celine just looks at Mordecai in utter confusion, and as the realization dawns on her face of what Kazimir is actually saying, she kind of half pulls away the mask to reveal, like, the still skin side of her face in the abject horror. Like, what?
I'm very confused as to what's going on.
I'm scared! As she puts the mask back onto her face.
That was not the reaction I expected.
Anyway, so yeah, the potential is we might have to go to the lake.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty far. How far is that in terms of like travel time?
It's a couple of days.
Yeah, well, to the closest one, yeah, it'd be a couple days. You
So
might be able to
far.
get there in one day if you take a riverboat upriver.
Oh, because, yeah, we came from that other town that was near there. Forget what it's called.
Maybe.
Lakeside.
But,
I come from Lakeside is an amusement park.
So, that's several days travel. Look, I think our best bet is to just try and follow the Fomorians, like the Fomorian clerics that I kind of were
Figure out what happened.
responsible for creating, and yeah, see if we
Yeah.
can't fix them.
that's on you.
To be fair, I didn't know the eye was going to do that to them.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean,
Like, I just
Sometimes
Celine
things without knowing what the
genuinely-
consequences will be too.
Yeah, Celine had no idea that the eye was gonna do that to them, and our character actually forgot that the eye does that.
You suppose she has her own eye? Like,
She does now, yeah. So we might want to go deal
She
with
has-
that.
does she have two? Maybe we need a pair, but they're so ooky. I don't want to look at them. Especially today when maybe I'll be ready tomorrow.
Yeah, if they're ooky, then yeah, that's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, we've dealt with worse.
Are you all squeamish?
Word streams,
No, I think it's worse
giant
for me
clockwork dragons.
because I'm almost fey, so it's probably worse for me to look at the eye. Like if it's just over there and I'm over here, it's okay. But if I get up close to it, it goes all ooky on me.
To be fair, it probably went all ooky on the revealer as well. So, you know, we kind of need to find them and fix this.
So was she like an elf?
Human.
Was she an
Or
elf or
half
was
elf?
she a human?
Human.
She was a human.
So,
So maybe
something's
maybe
going on there that's not just normal.
Maybe the eye gives off an affliction of some kind.
And it doesn't bother you at all, and you're half elf.
To be fair, I'm not looking directly at it. And
Oh,
yeah. I always have it in this Hessian bag.
that's probably good.
Keep it closed. Should we get moving
So-
then?
You know, if this
So-
was something more like a Medusa head, I could probably weaponize this, but... No.
Yeah. Okay, so hey, Maddie, what time of day is it?
Let's see. All this began in the morning, after traipsing around the city some. I'm gonna say this is, this would be maybe an hour or so after lunchtime. So we're talking, maybe like 1 p.m., 2 p.m.
Okay, so before we head out, I want to stop and buy some vegetables.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be able to go as far with you. Well, it depends on how far we have to go to get the Fomorians.
Why wouldn't you?
I know, things behind and I need to go back for them.
Are they on the way? We could pick them up.
They might be on the way to the lake, but they're not on the way to the Fomorians.
If you want vegetables, there you could find vegetables here.
I just want to buy a couple of carrots and maybe like a head of lettuce.
I mean,
Okay.
I think the easiest way would be to go and get your stuff, and then we can circle around the outside of the city to catch up with the Fomorians that way.
Be enough for that.
Wait, sorry.
I just wanna get it taken care of.
Sure.
So, well, let's do that. If you, is that like your gear, right?
Yes.
Is it so? You're gonna need that. So we'll go and collect it, and then we'll catch up with the. Yeah, we'll go and we'll go and collect it, and then we'll go pick it, and then we'll go get on the trail of the Fomorians.
Bright, make a perception check as you're doing. You're like, I need some veggies here. You're looking around at different ships that are coming in, delivering cargo.
You don't need a whole ship full.
No, but to see if anyone is selling fresh off the ship produce here. With a 14, you do well. You see, there are some places. In fact, there's a person who's wheeling a cart full of cabbages down the dock street here. They appear to be very very fresh, and and that catches your eye, and so too does apparently Jacob is running after someone. In fact, Jacob is like way down here while you are in the foreground here. Jacob must have wandered off or is doing something. Jacob, would you please make a dexterity saving throw?
Oh, sure. Fantastic, sure. Yep, that's about right.
All right.
That sounds about right.
So Jacob has gone off and he is chasing after someone. A little bit of a scene way further down, and this person ends up like sliding underneath the cart as Jacob is in hot pursuit, and Jacob just absolutely Kool-Aid Man's right into this cart full of cabbages. There's a green explosion as he just barrels through, does like a rolling tumble, stumbles a little bit, and Jacob is now is running further and further down the dock district, apparently after some sort of a culprit, leaving a poor ruined cabbage cart here in the midground, and the four of you outside the nest.
Is it less than 500 feet away from me?
He is more than 500 feet. Or are you talking about the cabbage cart?
I'm talking about the culprit.
Oh, the culprit is more than 500. Jacob is he's this whole time that you've been noodling over stuff, he's kind of wandered off and has been going down the way.
I imagine that it's just now they're hearing the echoing screams of my cabbages.
Hey, well, I'm gonna go over and help pick up cabbages.
I am going to dimension door and close the distance and run after this person.
Okay.
I'm just traveling normally.
So, well...
He just abandons you like that.
Alright, so Mordecai disappears, and Kazimir is immediately at Celine's side, so he just leaves, huh? So, alright. Yeah, Mordecai and Jacob are just over... well, Mordecai is kind of chasing after Jacob, who's chasing after a perp. Bright has gone to go help pick up cabbages, and this is leaving, I guess, Celine and Kazimir here in the foreground. So I'm sorry. So let's go to Celine and Kazimir. Can continue this, and then we'll.
Celine is just like another day in the life. She's gonna start running in the direction. Like, guys, wait up!
All right.
Don't have dimension door.
I will follow along.
Okay. So Kazimir, you're following behind Celine. Celine is running in a very animated style, and Bright has got a little head start since you two had a little conversation, and we go from there. So the Bright, you are the first to reach the overturned cabbage cart, and this poor guy is just the shipment was freshly grown, and oh, they're all. Does anyone have water? I could rinse these off.
I don't have any water, but I think it's right here. I mean, we're right by the waterfront. Although it might make them salty, but that's okay if you're planning to. I mean, certain dishes call for salty cabbages, so it would be okay anyway.
Do you have a barrel? Can you get some water?
I mean, Celine's not here. I don't have a barrel. I have a water skin.
Well, that'll help with one. I appreciate it. Oh, this is terrible.
I'll look around for a barrel.
There's plenty of barrels. Most of them are occupied and probably owned by other people, though.
Yeah. So,
Question.
how about this? Let me just clean them for you. I can clean them one at a time.
With what? Your spit?
Kind of.
Okay, just don't tell anyone.
Those are all prestidigitations.
Oh, all right.
I'm cleaning them.
Oh, thank you. All right, so you're over there, kind of boop 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 boop. You're cleaning cabbages, Bright. This guy is he's just sort of you're bucket brigading, like you're picking one up and cleaning it. You're handing it to him, and he is inspecting it, puts it back on the cart as he's been kind of overturning it or putting it back to right. And so as this is going on, Celine, followed by Kazimir, you are you're arriving to or going past the cabbage cart as you see Bright is just moving her little fingers over it and cleaning up cabbages.
Okay, so yeah. Well, fair enough, Derek. Okay, so yeah, basically gonna stop and be like, what's going on here?
Also, thank you very much for the raid, J-Man. Welcome. Unless y'all are caught in ad purgatory, and in which case, then I'll have to say this maybe 30 seconds again from now. Hey, there's Carla at least.
Yeah, there we go.
There's Zuler Pie. All right, now everyone's starting to load in. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for the raid. We are apparently in hot pursuit of a criminal that's resulted in an overturned cabbage cart in the Docks District. And we're going to see what happens. J-Man, I hope you had an awesome stream. Thank you so much for stopping by and bringing your folks to our RP game. So yes, you come up, Celine, and the cabbage salesman is there. A man, he was chasing after someone. He tried to stop and just slammed into the cart. It overturned. My cabbages just went flying everywhere. And this wonderful young woman had decided to stop by and is helping clean up the cabbages, so that they're going to be for sale shortly. They're going to be for sale, cabbages, fresh from Lakeside, right off the ship.
You should probably wait until I'm done cleaning them.
Yeah, no, it's like
just from a marketing perspective.
I'll help Brian clean up the cabbages.
Do you also have prestidigitation?
No, I'm just gonna be like like creating a chain where like I'm like picking them up and passing them to her, and she's prestidigitating them and putting them back in my car.
All right, Kazimir, are you going to supervise watching Celine bend over constantly and pick up cabbages?
Yes, someone has to make sure she's safe.
Gotcha.
And keep an eye out for
Still
pickpockets.
you still
They seem
haven't
to
seen
be-
what's under the mask, Kazimir. Mordecai knows, you don't.
Kazimir, please make a perception at advantage, as you are being very aware of what's going on around you. Ooh, 23. All right. All right, so you are extremely observant, and you are watching just hip level every pocket that you could possibly theorize exists on Celine. I mean, around you and other people, as she is working here with Bright, and a couple other people have come over to try and help. And so Kazimir, you do see that a little scamp has come by and has actually run off with a dirty cabbage. And so the salesman seems to have missed it as he was looking the other way, crying, and you just see this kid like boop, reach up from the other side and pluck, and is kind of like whoop, under the shirt and starting to run off with it. Are you wanting to do anything, Kazimir, or are you going to let this little ragamuffin go with the dirty cabbage?
Well, I mean, it was on ground, so it's fine.
Okay, you're gonna let the cabbage go.
No one noticed.
Okay.
Second rule.
All right.
Third rule.
So, as this is happening now, let's go, Mordecai. Unless you have any other magic to help you catch up, I'm presuming that you're running at the same pace as Jacob is, and Jacob is running at a pace that would be matching in some capacity the culprit or someone that he's chasing. Are you wishing to do anything to close the gap magically, or the fact that he actually might get tired at some point in time and has to breathe and you don't? Are you in it for the long haul?
I kind of side glance as I'm running next, like with. Am I running with Jacob now?
No, you're behind him. Like you got a nice 500-foot head start, but he was already ahead. You could presumably shout ahead, and he might be able to hear you, but you haven't caught up to him unless you have any other magical means of movement.
Do I see the culprit?
Make a perception at disadvantage, since you're not really you're looking for someone that might be running away or suspicious, but you don't have a description. You don't know who or what you're looking for. Ooh, all right. A 20 or a 28 here. Okay. You can see that there is someone who is dressed in local garb. Looks like a tiefling, unless that's a fake tail. Things like that might happen where people dress up to throw people off or whatnot. But it looks like there's a tiefling in poorer quality clothing that is running away, kind of like going through the crowd. You just managed to catch ooh, there's a little bit of the tail, and there's a little bit of people kind of like throwing their arms up like, whoa, hey, watch it, Buster, kind of a thing.
Okay. I'm going to quickly cast message while I'm running.
Okay.
If I can possibly manage it. Just kind of pulling out my pan flute and kind of spraying, doing a quick note and ascend to Jacob. Who are we looking for? I can get us there. You can respond.
Well, here's a question for you. Have I managed to end up chasing this individual to the point where I could say I'm 25 feet away from this individual? Would that be accurate?
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I am willing. I'm willing to put you at that pace, but let's have a little side fun for narrative, and actually run an urban chase, a quick little urban chase. If none of you out there are familiar, if you haven't run it in your own games, you can find very easy chase rules in the Dungeon Master's Guide. And
All right, sounds fun.
let's see, going mad, sewer plague, poisons, diseases. Let me get over
I like
to it.
the disease ones. Can we start with that? I've
All
always
right.
been a fan of the Black Plague myself.
Chases are on page 252, so if any of you have your books out at home. I am in particular going to the urban chase complications. And when the chase began, so a crowd blocks your way, and so we're going to say that this was really taking place in earnest after the initial setback of the cart, which I think is actually something that can come up in, or something similar can happen in the urban chase complications. But we're going to have this little contest of sorts take place afterwards, so that there's an initial gap, and we'll see that how much you can catch up here. And I ended up rolling a 2. A crowd blocks your way. Make a athletics or acrobatics check to make your way through the crowd unimpeded. All right, with an athletics, you for sure, you just, I presume you don't want to throw elbows. I mean, you don't want to like knock teeth or break noses going through. So, okay, so a crowd's getting together, kind of rubbernecking. You encounter them. How are you getting through the crowd? You successfully do so, but what is the way in which you want to do this?
So, in surprising fashion, maybe this is as an expression of Jacob's strength, or maybe he didn't realize he was this strong. He gives chase, and the first thing that he sees is this little boy chasing after what seems to be a stray cat, a very familiar... Was that the same cat? And then Jacob realizes he's about to run this young lad over.
Okay.
And there's no time to stop. So he claps both feet, does a springboard, jumps clear up, and before he knows it, for a brief second, Willow, he sees like little black hairs, like large strands of them, slinking back under his arm. And he's like, what just happened? And realized he is 40 feet in the air, in a tumble, and lands on the other side of the crowd, having no idea what the heck just happened. But he seems to be gaining on his pursuer, so no time to investigate that now.
And there's a clap from the crowd that was behind that you just...
Thank you.
All right, so yes, you're continuing to close the distance.
I'm also chasing after him, right?
Yeah, you are. When suddenly, next up, Jacob, you come across a pack of dogs fighting over food. So they're already growling. They're in attack stances, and even one of them, depending on how you do, you might end up like getting bit as you're going through, because other people at this point are like, whoa, hang on, this is turning into a real bad incident here. Once more though, you can make either an acrobatics or an athletics of your choice to see if you can. Ooh, 29. That's a green number for all of you at home who can't see this. That means that is a 20 on the die. All right, so Jacob, you come across this pack of dogs. Maybe they're there fighting over a scrap of food. It's not the first time you've given chase, and a robber who knew what they were doing was trying to rile up some of the local dogs to like cover their trail or to keep people from following behind. That could be the case here. And absolutely not like that fluffy little pupper right there that you all see on camera.
He's being vicious, cruel, and cunning. You can see it in the eyes.
Behind the lids, but yes, definitely in the eyes. But Jacob, with your athletics of 29, describe what you're doing here to circumnavigate or to somehow quell or something. If a dog is leaping, are you like catching it, or you tell me what's going on here? This is your narration.
So it's at this point he ends up trying to end up pursuing. He's completely jumping on this pursuer when these two dogs who are fighting over what appears to be a scrap, and he's rushing right over, and they turn their attention and jump upon him. And as he ends up doing so, he raises his shield as though he's going to end up plowing through. No idea what's going to end up happening. He raises his shield. He has no idea, but for some odd reason, the dogs are whimpering and scampering off. What Mordecai might have ended up seeing was as soon as Jacob hit his face behind the shield, as, you know, too pretty to be scarred up, the same hairs kind of burst out of his armor and turned into this massive, like, maybe a familiar dragon's head, and just kind of terrifying these things and everything around him. And he just continues to go. He's like, "Did you hear that? Yeah. There's a chase."
All right. Very good. So you're getting closer and closer. Let's see if you can close the gap to 25 feet or so. You clear the crowd. You clear the pack of dogs. When suddenly, an overzealous guard mistakes you for someone else. There's a condition here. If you continue to move, then it looks like he's going to be making an opportunity attack against you to try and get you. Like, "Hey, it's you again! I'm going to get you!" Like, you know, you stop where you're going. Now, are you going to run past this guard who seems to be riled up and provoke the attack of opportunity? Or are you going to do some other skill or magic or something to...
Allow me to express something. The truth of the matter is, since I ended up getting here, the guards have been sloppy. They have not been able to follow their own rules. They have been sloppy with the paperwork. They have not managed to detain prisoners. They have not managed to quell riots. They have not managed to end up stopping petty theft, nor have they done anything about the tower. At this current point, their training is highly dubious, and I very much doubt he's going to end up causing a problem. So I am going to run right past him with absolute disregard to this individual, as it's very clear he was sitting there. I see the remains of the pastry sitting there on that barrel he was leaning on. I know full well that that tankard is not filled with regulation alcohol, but probably some swill that they ended up brewing up on the side, and is probably drunk off of his ass at this point. I have absolutely no doubts that he is completely incapable of doing anything about the situation, otherwise he would be chasing after the felon.
All right, so regulation alcohol.
I figured you'd like that one.
You can only have like 10 proof while you're on duty. Aside from that, all right. So he is our guard here is going to try and make an attack of opportunity against Investigator Jacob Stillwaters as he passes by, and let's see if he hits. 16?
So Jacob continues, and he assumes that nothing ended up happening. Mordecai, what you end up seeing is that sword was going directly for his neck until it ended up getting bitten by, again, that same manifestation, though it looks more like a woman's face, a familiar face that just kind of bit the blade and held it at bay and spat it out away, which made the individual kind of weirded out, like, what the... Jacob pays no mind. He just continues running, having no idea what just transpired.
All right. And so here we are at your. You are 25 feet away. However, Mordecai, as you're chasing behind, there's a couple things that you have to get through as well, and we'll see if you're able to manage here right before Jacob is going to do whatever he's going to do at this very specific number. No, but he's going to get the chance to do so. And so Mordecai, you sort of you teleport 500 feet ahead. You start running after. You're scanning the crowd, and while you are running through the docks district, what should happen? But a large obstacle such as a horse or a cart blocks your way. And so, yes, apparently there's a cart full of fresh, these must be winter watermelons. They're supposed to be colder as they were made with like snow melt, and they're supposed to just be like a slightly different, a little hardier breed of watermelon that's very cool and refreshing. Even on a warm spring day. And so you have these winter watermelons. A cart is being pushed full of them, fresh from the fields and valleys and whatnot of the inner part of the island. And what I need you to do is make an acrobatics check for me. All right, with a 27, Mordecai.
The acrobat to do an acrobatics check.
Who would have thought?
Please describe how or what you're doing. You do successfully avoid impacting and possibly overturning the cart of winter watermelons here. How are you wishing to do this?
So what happens is that Mordecai sees that the cart is coming right in front of his path, and I'm hearing background noise. I'm just getting distracted.
Oh yeah, is someone talking in a background somewhere? Coffee. Yeah, you see the person pushing is looking, probably seeing the chase that's going on, isn't watching where he's going, and so what are you doing?
And so I'm pushing forward, seeing that the cart is there. I'm looking to see. I'm treating it as if it's some kind of vault, do some kind of like gymnast like flip over the top of it.
Oh yeah.
And land in a 3-point landing and keep going.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So he kind of like swerves. Whoa! As he comes back to attention, you're running. You crouch, fling, and with because you got some of that. You got a good dose of Jacob in you earlier. So your leg muscles kind of bunch up. Bing, you sproing. You stick the landing, and the crowd's like, everyone's getting a show today. And you successfully dodge the cart of winter watermelons, and you continue taking off without really losing a step. When suddenly, another cart filled with fresh produce.
Have we gone into the market by this point?
We might be. So we're gonna say that this is a cart that just has it's a fresh catch, not the morning fresh catch, but like the second catch coming in here. It is filled to the brim with all kinds of seaweeds and octopi that aren't trying to turn you into pillars of salt and consume you, and all sorts of little gribblies from the sea. Little girl like oysters, clams, and cockles is shouting as she's pushing the fish and shellfish around in seaweed, and looking back again. What was that about? What? As she is accidentally getting in your way here. Full of seafood, and I need you to make another acrobatics check to avoid slamming into this poor girl's cart of with a 16. Okay, you narrowly. This isn't a wholeheartedly dodge. You do dodge, but it's very narrow. But you may describe how you're avoiding the cart, or at least not how you're tipping it over. Maybe you bump into it or something. But I'll leave that to you.
So as I'm running through the street and this other cart, people not watching where they're going, I am shouting to this person to get out of the way, and they're just not listening. They're not paying attention. So when I go through, I kind of like sidestep a little and almost trip a little bit.
Okay.
But I And that's how that happens. Is narrow escape, but
Okay, so kind of like whoa, 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 whoa. You gotta like get your balance. You gotta maybe you roll along the side of the cart or something, and
I roll my back along their back and keep going.
okay. All right. So you narrowly yeah. And then once more the crowd that is just along the docks. But you don't get like the standing ovation like you did before. You get kind of the polite golf clap from a couple of the sailors. However, you still are maintaining a good pace when suddenly it's not another one. Wouldn't that have been something though? Number 9. Oh, the same overzealous guard. Jacob. So Jacob, like you saw, like dodge, and of course, as you're doing this, like you're seeing this weird stuff happen from Jacob, and the same guard just sort of like turns around from like misses Jacob as he's sprinting ahead, turns around and another robber in my territory, no way, and he's gonna go and if you want to do something in particular, to. A magic or a skill, otherwise you can keep moving past him, but he's going to make an attack of opportunity against you.
In the meantime, I am going to shout, "Police, get out of the way!"
Okay.
Can I roll some kind of charisma check to see if he'll actually buy it?
Sure.
Technically not a lie.
Go ahead and make a persuasion at disadvantage, as he is an overzealous guard who's kind of half paying attention. So I will. Oh, all right. So that's a red 9. And so as you're shouting this, I'm not gonna let anyone else get by me. And he's gonna try to. He's gonna try and get you. I presume
11 does not hit.
Okay. An 11, so he like kind of dives for you here, and he like just manages like as he's diving, he just manages to get your tail. I mean, not you. You're not. This isn't me slowing you down or saying you're taking damage, but this is part of the play up. Like he gets your tail as he's hanging on, and what are you doing to get out of his grip here without really losing any?
Again, that same kind of acrobatic twirl, just to slip my tail out and keep running as I continue to chase after Jacob.
Okay. Jacob, we come back to you. You are within this 25 feet, and what would you like to do since you have achieved your distance goal?
Well, to my understanding, at this point, he is running, or the perpetrator, no assumptions, is running full tilt, looking at me, trying to see if he's lost me. Is that correct?
Yeah, presumably, so yeah, you just see like a quick glance back, and it looks like he's getting ready to like do a pivot turn and jump into an alleyway.
Well, I'm going to end up simply saying, momentum's a bitch.
Oh. All right. Can you describe the effects of your mist? Is it truly a misty step or...
No, Jacob seems aware that he needs to end up catching this individual. He's pushing, and he takes one step, and suddenly it's like he's falling forward, like there's no more ground underneath his feet. He has no idea, kind of a Wile E. Coyote moment, truthfully, as his feet seem to untwist themselves, like in very small strands, almost like they were constructed out of a batch of hair, and suddenly going black and unfurling. He falls into this mass that allows his entire body to unfurl in a moment's notice, and suddenly a single strand of hair suddenly becomes a bunch and reconstitutes him as he appears in front of this individual who is charging full well at him, looking in the wrong direction. And now Jacob is currently here 5 feet in front and is in a position to be able to end up apprehending and clotheslining this individual, bringing them down and bringing them to serve justice.
Sure. Go ahead and make an athletics check, and I will, as we're kind of doing a grapple here in a sense, and we'll see if this person can dodge out of the way or somehow wiggle free.
Is this at advantage or is this at regular?
I'm going to say that this is going to be regular. Just a roll versus a roll. Oof! Oh my goodness.
Such a pity.
All right. So, Mordecai, you see this that Jacob's been sort of manifesting these things that are happening here. He disappears for a moment, reappears, and once more just to clothesline, he gets that kind of T pose, and just this tiefling just like right to the throat. The teeth, not the teeth, the feet, the opposite letters. The feet like go out and he kind of falls on his back. And so Mordecai, as you're 1 round behind, there's one more thing that you got to get through to catch up because Jacob is standing still. Jacob, did you have anything to say in the wake of this?
Jacob, as soon as the individual is airborne, is just going to end up using the momentum to end up twisting this individual around in the air, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term, but I'm just going to simply end up using an out-of-character term, black hole slam.
I haven't heard of that.
I'll have to show it to you.
Okay.
Suffice it to say, it's far more effective when thumbtacks are involved.
Gotcha. No, the only thing that was remotely close is when that black hole was discovered and there's a bunch of waifus being drawn about it. That's the closest thing that could come to mind. So, all right. So Mordecai, as you're running up here and this occurs, there is a beggar that is coming out to shuffle in front of you and blocks your way, and you could have a couple options here, as please, sir, alms, as he's holding his hands out in front of you, like trying to impose to get some coinage or something from you, and you can either make an athletics check, an acrobatics check, an intimidation check, or another charisma of your choice if you're feeling descriptive in some other fashion, or if you just want to toss him some coinage, he'll probably just go away, kind of like bing, like flip a coin ahead of you. And
I'm gonna take a few coins out of my purse. He's absent-mindedly not actually looking at the coins that he's pulled out, and tosses like 2 silver and 3 copper at the guy.
okay. And it would seem that this, for apparently being a beggar down on his luck, looks like maybe an old man, has arthritis and everything. Boy, those hands don't lie. As you toss those coins, and this apparently old decrepit beggar just like catches the coins as you're tossing them ahead of yourself. And you just hear "much obliged," and flips a coin as he's walking back to his crate. But he does get out of your way. And adjust it on your character sheet. I trust you in that regard. But you gave the not so old beggar some coinage, and sure. All right, and so you have now caught up to a prone figure who is lying on the damp cobbles of the dock district, with Jacob standing over him. At least it's not you this time, but this seems to be a very familiar thing. And Jacob's probably panting, unless you want to manually. Of course, you're not out of breath because you don't need it. What are you saying or doing, Mordecai?
I am looking through my things to see if I can find something that would help subdue this person, but I'm looking and I don't have any rope in my bag.
All right. So Jacob, Mordecai runs up to the scene, and you are standing atop this person. Breathing heavily. What are you doing?
As I take a moment to finish my stretching in my natural T pose. Dominance thoroughly established. I proceed to end up manacling the suspect, and to skip over any questions, I am taking hold of the purse that was taken, and I start to end up giving this person rights as I end up proceeding to end up walking back towards a guard I can actually end up trusting to stop embarrassing himself at this point.
Okay.
And he notices Mordecai.
Yes.
Oh. I was not aware that you were in pursuit, Mr. Silverleaf. Thank you for your assistance.
I wasn't able to help much, but okay.
Yes. Well, this young individual, he kind of ends up giving a shake of the collar at this point as he continues on.
What does this kid look like?
Let's see. We'll say that this is a late teens, early 20s tiefling male, and he's blue, not your blue, more like this blue, maybe like a brighter, like a sky blue, in color.
'Cause I'm kind of a periwinkle.
Yeah.
Does he look like an urchin, or does he look like he's?
Right now he's just kind of sweaty, huffing. He's in scrappy clothes, but he's not said anything. He's not, you haven't, you don't know where he lives. There could be any set of circumstances. He looks like he is, he lives out on the streets. Whether or not that's true, to be determined.
So I just take a knee and I look at the kid and I ask him, where are you from? Where do you live?
In which language?
Infernal.
Okay. I live around town. What does it matter to you?
Well, seems like you're in a bad position, my friend.
I don't think we're friends. Are you working with him? You don't look like a cop.
We don't have to be friends, and I'm not a cop.
Then what do you... Help me out. I'm not a human.
What's wrong with humans?
He gives you a look. Now he doesn't have pupils, but I mean you're kind of used to working with your own kind in this regard. We need to stick together. Come on. Make a distraction. Help me get out of here.
Look, listen, kid. The fact of the matter is, you're under the weight of a man who could best you. So, right now, I'm thinking that maybe we let you go. We got what we wanted back.
Fine, whatever. Let me go. Take the purse.
More accurately, he is still a thief, and he needs to end up here answering for his crime.
Is this an infernal?
No, sorry, no.
Okay.
But that That is not an infernal, but I speak in plain common.
But you understand, yeah, okay, that all right. And he looks over to, just exasperated that you can speak this or understand, at least understand the language.
Child, allow me to explain something. I deal with a lot of tieflings in a lot of different counties, and I am originally from Green Shield, and more often than not, our relations are fairly amicable. So, whatever your bias towards my kind, the law is the law, regardless. He changes his language to infernal. Or would you prefer I speak it as such?
What's the appropriate punishment for a pickpocket?
Depends on the county. And the right location, it would be simply to end up taking his hands and moving on. Thankfully, I don't do such things that are so boorish.
Yeah, that's boorish.
So, at this
What
point,
about just taking him home to his parents?
how do you... Tell me, child, do you have any parents as there is?
No, I live on the streets.
You're
Streets
a
raised me.
liar. You're a liar. This kid's wealthy.
Rich kid, steal it?
If I'm wealthy, why do I have to steal purses, huh?
That is a very good question. Perhaps it's not the purse that was initially important, but what's in it. Maybe more who you took it from.
But we either take you home, or we take you to a holding cell in which your parents can actually bail you. That's your choice.
He has choices. That's more courteous than I would give him.
Look, don't you have other things to do? There's a part of the city that's burning down. There's those big purple freaks that just walk through the docks district.
It's at this point Jacob turns him around, puts him up against the wall. Yes.
Ugh.
Exactly. No, look at me. Look at me, child.
I can't. You have me against the wall.
Like I said, I'd turn him around, make sure he's facing me.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
He wants to make direct eye contact. Exactly. And when I have to waste my time dealing with the little punks who end up deciding that now might be a free ride, implies that I'm allowed to let the law slip. The law does not slip. Not for you, not for me, not for him. And I really don't care where you end up coming from. Here, we end up sticking together by maintaining the law. Every time I have to chase after some young punk like you, I then have to end up taking time away from putting out fires. Do you understand that? So you are directly putting this city in further danger with these little antics that you think you can just get away with. Because no one's going to pay any attention.
Roll an intimidation at advantage with this.
Because I'm nodding.
I am not an intimidating figure at all.
Okay, so
I told you I can roll 40 dice and I might get 5 that are over 7.
for everyone at home, that this is a 2 or a 3. All right, so you are. No, don't leave. Come back.
No, my cat's trying to run up against tables and call forward again.
Oh yeah, she was causing all sorts of mischief for you last night on your art stream. Okay, so it's not that you're not stern or talking the truth. The role doesn't invalidate what you say. But this kid is... you are not having the effect on this kid that maybe you had hoped for or that you've achieved with other people. But there's something about this kid where, he thinks that he's better, or that he's just trying to act all, old, tiefling tough tail over here.
Okay.
And so he's like, no, that's just a bunch of talk. Why don't go put the fires out then? Leave me alone, man.
Very well.
I'll
then.
go home on my own.
So tough.
No. He may have a point. Perhaps I should leave him alone. I know the perfect place. You see, I know these streets well enough to know when I'm wanted and when I'm not wanted. And know where to go and where not to go. So if you take a look down there, about 3 alleys down, you know why it's not lit? Because that's where the real children of the streets live. Now, if I take you down there, let you go, and say, well, thank you very much for the information, what do you think they're going to do to you?
It would be taking him home, wouldn't it?
They would. That's where you belong, right? That's your people. I mean, an officer bringing you home, letting you here go right in front of them and thanking you very much for your assistance.
And obviously your crew's gonna thank you for that.
Don't doubt my conviction. You said it yourself. I don't have time to play these games. That is the most expedient route I can solve this.
He's stammering, trying to come up with a story. You don't need to roll anything to realize that he's looking for something, and and he is absolutely flubbing for excuses and the like. You wouldn't do that. Just let me go. Come on, just let me go. Let me go back home.
Yes.
And you call him out. You're like, but I thought you said the streets were your home.
Dragging him towards that alley.
No. No.
I'm dragging with him.
That's exactly what you wanted. We could end up taking you home. Have a little bit of love from the homies.
No. Are you taking him down the alleyway? He's blathering at this point, so he also has wet himself, so.
Yes, well, I'm going to wish him the best of luck, but this is what he wanted.
All right. With you two taking him to the alleyway, I'm going to cut back real quick to the.
Okay.
As you've been spending a couple minutes now cleaning up cabbages, Bright, as Celine has been kindly handing them to you, and Kazimir has been supervising. So Kazimir, while one cabbage did escape at least it didn't escape your notice. You just passed the judgment that whatever is a dirty cabbage and that person could have it. And otherwise you were watching very vigorously. And the cabbage cart salesman seems very appreciative. Bright, make a persuasion at advantage, please.
19.
All right. So appreciative is this cabbage salesman of your help. He will very happily give you a cabbage of your choice. Of these 3 cabbages. He says, cabbage of your choice from these 3. You can have as a thank you for helping me to clean up the cabbages and recover my business.
Okay. I don't want to sound ungrateful. Be a little. But normally,
Uh-huh.
like 15 minutes of consistent spell casting would cost more than 1 cabbage.
Oh, well, you drive a hard bargain. You can have 2.
Okay, I only wanted 2.
It's a pleasure doing business with you, ma'am. Thank you.
Me too, thanks. Okay,
And-
bye. I'll take 2 cabbages.
He places 2 cabbages in it's probably like a little, like a little burlap sack. You know, it's kind of loose, so it looks like a fishing net more than actually like a nicely, like a tight threaded one. But so like, you know, kind of a cheap sack. You have 2 cabbages, and he hands them over. And he looks at you, Celine. thanks.
It's not a problem.
And to you, Kazimir. He kind of has you come over.
Mhm.
I saw that kid got away with one.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'd be distracted too. You have good taste. Goes selling cabbages as he pushes his cart away. So Kazimir, he wishes you good luck as he's on his way out, and the three of you are left with 2 cabbages in a simple bag in the possession of Bright, and
Hey. Well, that was fun. I didn't expect it to take so long to get 2 cabbages, but here they are. I'm gonna need them for later. And, where did everybody go?
They ran that way.
yeah,
Bye.
I cannot see them.
Kazimir,
They're very far.
what we can say that you've seen them do is because you were paying attention at times to the distance, and you did see that at some point Jacob and Mordecai were taking a third character down an alleyway. So like, if you all are around here, they went into an alleyway, kind of around here, just like a couple
They
blocks
appear
or
to be
whatever.
bullying small child.
That doesn't really sound like them.
As I said, it's hard to see. They are far.
Can't see over the carts that are all straight in the way.
There's an awful lot of produce carts pushing around here this afternoon.
They are down in the market, I think. There is wild dog over there.
Oh, we don't want to get involved with that. And what's the deal with that guard?
There's a very surly guards out there too,
He's
just like
drunk off his head.
Stop regulation.
He's just got a bone to pick and a quota to meet.
yeah. All right, so do the three of you want to walk down towards the alleyway that you saw Jacob and Mordecai duck down, or
Yep,
are
I
you
think so.
waiting in the
Sure.
street?
We could go after them.
Okay. Then what we'll do before we hit our break here, because I'm gonna have to get up and take a break and refresh myself. As the purpose of taking this kid down the alleyway, Jacob and Mordecai is kind of to, scared straight to try and oh, you say you're from the streets? Well, here we're gonna take you to a mean part of the ports, and see just what it's like here. How would you like to go about doing this? In terms of setup or good cop, bad cop, or describe how you would want to present him to the ne'er-do-wells who are in this alleyway, and to try and work up a, work what you want to do.
Well, it would make sense that Mordecai would have some, maybe not direct contact with seedier folks most of the time, but he has had to make a shady deal now and again, and would approach this from a, yeah, we're going to take you to see your crew, that's where we're going, right?
Okay.
Jacob is going to be. Would it be assuming that Jacob has been in this city for at least a couple of months? This is probably not the first incursion he's had with this sort of situation.
You haven't been here for months, as you left Green Shield to come up to this area, and you took a little bit of a route around to look at the mushrooms and whatnot on your way in before you would then investigate the city proper. But I'm sure you've been here before, as the cities on the interior, especially for not just a beat cop, but for an investigator, someone who's in the higher ranks of municipal enforcement. You've been here before, and you've probably helped walk the streets with a patrol just as sort of a mutual aid time and a time. So you learn how to help out other people, and of course they send big city folk out to Green Shield to learn what law enforcement's like on the interior, in the countryside where it's a little slower, different types of crime. So you're learning about all kinds of different methodologies. It's sort of like a policeman exchange program. So yeah, you've been here before.
Because the way Jacob has this played out is we're going to present him to the individuals. When we're going to end up explaining that this young man believes that this is his own. Let them get a little bit belligerent. Make sure that it's clear that they're not welcome to touch him, but I want to end up making it very clear, if this is the lifestyle he wants to live, let's see if he enjoys home. I want him crying for mommy, and then once he's crying for mommy, I will take him to mommy. In which case he will end up expressing exactly what it is that he did, and what kind of crew he wants to run with.
Okay.
But, and I am most certainly going to pay for these individual services, because bluntly, if a criminal can prevent a child from becoming another criminal, that is the closest thing to a bit of justice that they're going to end up serving if I don't catch them.
All right. Jacob, make a perception check as you are walking these back alley streets in the Port District.
I can't roll over a 6, and you know that. I don't know why you're asking me to roll.
Okay.
I have a 25 passive.
I know that, and I will be giving you some information as to set up the scene here. So to go back to Kazimir, Celine, and Bright, you were going to go to the alleyway, or were you going to go someplace else or wait someplace else?
Just walk through.
I think we're just kind of going after them.
Okay.
Not in too much of a hurry.
No,
Sure.
Normal pace.
All right. So Mordecai, you are. Jacob is planning. Is maybe distracted by thoughts of law enforcement and his training and the places he's been, as he's kind of going through the exercise in his mind. And when you get to
I don't want to get seen by the guard.
Okay. You can always just
sneak past him somehow.
You can.
It just will walk by with the shield in hand.
Yeah, you could hitch a ride with Kazimir. You could probably you could hide under Celine's robes. I think she's tall enough. Kind of like like little mother hen and little chick, kind of under the wing, kind of a thing. Or
Celine, do you mind if I hide in your skirt?
If you require it.
Okay, so whoop. So Celine, you got to change your pace up a little bit, but you can easily smuggle a gnome in your robes. So now we are going to cut back over to Mordecai and Jacob. Jacob, you're a little preoccupied here. And Mordecai, as you arrive exactly where even you, let alone Jacob, was hoping to go, as it does look like this is a gang hang-around area. It's a really busted down warehouse. A bunch of cracked windows. There's boxes just everywhere. And all kinds of, it doesn't look like people really come here to maintain it, or even if anyone still owns it, cares about it. And there is a gang of mostly tieflings. A couple humans are in it as well. And they again look to be late teens, early 20s. And you all, the three of you are noticed when you are walking into the open area that this court of sorts is holding. And in particular, Mordecai, a lot of people seem to be shifting and putting their arms behind their backs. and you can presume that they're tentatively reaching for weapons. However, you saw that several of them had what was most likely luciferase that in containers, and so it seems like you and Investigator Stillwaters just walked in on a really big drug deal that's taking place around you in this opened up warehouse area. And a bunch of eyes, not all of them have pupils, are falling on the three of you when this happens. And you get in really rough, in rough language, in both Infernal and Common, several people shouting, like, "What you want?" And we're gonna cut here. With this happening as Bright is tucking under Celine's skirt, and there's gonna slowly hobble their way to the alleyway. And we have this scene to pick up. So for all of you out there, let's take about a 10-minute break or so, maybe a little longer if you need an extra time to snack or use the restroom. I have 1:14, so like, I don't know, 1:25, 1:30, we can come back, finish up, quick little table talk if necessary, then we'll slide back in and pick up where we left off here. So yep, as O'Sheep says, everyone go stretch. That's right, go and do some twists and turns, get some water, hydrate and whatnot, and we'll see you back here in just a little bit.